Schumacher coming out of Woodcote Corner to complete yet another lap. He did go long, didn't he, on the fuel? That's why he was. That's why he wasn't quite so quick in qualifying. Fourth place, half a second down on Kimi Räikkönen.
A 1:18.9 he's just done. I meant to say Barrichello rather than Michael before with Jensen, but incredibly a 1:18.9 for Schumacher. That's 2 seconds faster than anybody else is going out there at the moment as they get back up to speed with their tyre change. And look, can Raikkonen make it stick up the inside now? Of course, yes he can, and that is crucial, but it must have cost him about 4 seconds so far. That's hurt him bad. His lead was about 3.5.
Trulli pits, good stop by Renault, 7.7, out he goes. He passed him into Cobb's corner. That takes some bottle, doesn't it? 165-mile-an-hour corner.
They just had to stay on in there, didn't he, and hope that Sato would get out of the way. Sato's not normally well known for shying away from coming together. He doesn't normally jump out of the way, but Raikkonen with the quicker and slightly lighter car, I think.
I'll tell you what's interesting though, Martin, in the opening phase of this race, Rubens Barrichello was ahead of Jenson Button. He made his first stop on lap 9. Button came in 2 laps later, and look, Jenson Button has actually jumped Rubens Barrichello as a result of that first round of pit stops. Great news for the Brit then. He's ahead of one of the 2 Ferraris. Michael Schumacher, though, has yet to make a stop. He's going faster still, fastest first and second sectors so far in this lap. A 1:18.739. The man is on fire. He's flying around this track now. Has he done enough to take the lead of this Grand Prix? Well, we'll find out shortly. It seems to me he had a big mountain to climb.
And the really bad news is that Button 2 now is coming up behind some traffic, albeit, as you say, having cleared Barrichello. Jenson Button is going to lose some time. Michael must have been about 6.5 seconds away from the lead. Has he done enough to just simply leapfrog straight into the lead in this one zone of the Grand Prix? His lap times are stunning.
They are indeed. Raikkonen did lose time. He's losing time again here now. 2 seconds he lost on the last lap, trying to get past Takuma Sato through this traffic with the Minardi as well. Certainly Michael Schumacher has stayed out a few laps longer than Raikkonen, and has it been enough? There's a tremendous, look at it, it's like the car park at Sainsbury's down there on the Hanger Straight. Mark Webber in the mix as well. He's battling away with Jenson Button behind him. That's a for position. Webber yet to stop in the Jaguar in 4th place.
See, this is the problem. When the computer tells you a 3-stopper is faster, you can't really take into consideration exactly how the back markers are going to fall. So what you've got are the 3-stoppers trying to make their way through the 2-stoppers here, and that is why you're seeing 4 and 5 abreast there. Button desperately trying to get past his teammate. They're on different strategies, and Sato lets him go. That's great news for Jenson Button as Michael Schumacher pits from the lead. Where is he going to come out, James?
Well, he had 23.3 seconds before this stop. We will see. 16 plus the stationary time is what you need. That's 25. Raikkonen should grab it, but look at the traffic jam he's in. Down the pit straight goes Schumacher. Raikkonen flashes past. There he is on the right of your screen. Schumacher can now hit the gas as he comes out of the pit lane. Is he ahead? Raikkonen's going to catch up with him. Is he? Not quite. And Michael Schumacher, is that Kimi Räikkönen? I think it is. Yes, it is indeed.
Yep.
And that's the lead to change then.
It's leapfrogged completely.
He has completely leapfrogged him as a result of those fast laps and the traffic for Kimi Räikkönen.
Amazing. Yeah, so that's what it was then. Michael on very, very hot laps while the others pitted and then got caught up in traffic. Somehow, miraculously, everything cleared out of Michael's way, and he's gone from 4th to 1st. And now he's got it. Now we'll see just how fast Raikkonen is, but it's Raikkonen who's got to get into the dirty air now. He'll be so amazed and frustrated to see the Ferrari. He would have thought initially, he would have been sure initially that was Barrichello he saw in the distance, and he'll be amazed to find out that is Michael Schumacher.
Schumacher leads the Grand Prix then from Kimi Räikkönen after a spell of mesmerising driving. This is lap 16 of 60 here at Silverstone.
All about. It's Raikkonen catching very, very quickly during this lap to Michael Schumacher. He's had 3 or 4 tenths out of him. So Raikkonen now once again showing that prodigious pace he had in the first few laps of the Grand Prix.
Well, this is something, isn't it? A real turn-up for the book. Some people would get passed by Michael Schumacher as a result of the first round of pit stops and would say, oh, well, that's that then. He's in a Ferrari. He's the best driver. I'm giving up for the afternoon. But not Kimi Räikkönen. He has every intention of getting that lead back, whether he has to do it on the racetrack, in the pit lane, however he does it. The disadvantage for him is that Schumacher took on a lot of fuel in that first stop, considerably more than Kimi Räikkönen did. And that's going to give him about 10 or 15 laps more than Raikkonen, 10 laps more than Raikkonen approximately. And that is really against Kimi's chances of doing anything to Schumacher this afternoon.
A bit of history between these two drivers. They're both managed by Flavio Briatore, one driving Flavio's own cars in the Renault team, and of course Mark Webber is one of his managed drivers in the Jaguar car. They're all moving around at the moment for next season, and a bit of bad blood between them too when they've tripped over each other in races earlier this season. So we'll keep a close eye on this scrap for 9th and 10th. But more importantly, I think Button and Barrichello are also homing in on Michael Schumacher and Kimi Räikkönen. The top four separated by just over 8 seconds.
Yeah, the fuel's definitely got something to do with this. Schumacher is heavier at the moment. Räikkönen, Button and Barrichello are closing up to him. Can they pass him? Ted, what you got for us?
Just a quick line on Jordan. Giorgio Pantano's having more trouble. He's flat spotted his tyres now, and the tyres, the handling's gone away completely. Terrible vibrations in that car. Giancarlo Fisichella is also making his pit stop.
There's a man with a lot to smile about at the moment, Ron Dennis. He took it on the chin at the beginning of the season when McLaren were underperforming. He put his hands up and said, we're not good enough, we have got to get better. And get better they most certainly have in the biggest possible way here at Silverstone. Giancarlo Fisichella finally makes a pit stop on lap 24, drops the clutch, puts plenty of fuel into it. That will drop him back to around about 9th place, so a good gain there for Fisichella for running so long in this Grand Prix. Look at this battle for the lead though.
Got a bit of a carbon copy, haven't we, of qualifying, where the Ferrari was much quicker down to Stowe Corner, and then the McLaren and other cars quicker on the infield, and the final run through the lap, and Raikkonen really closing him down. They're pretty much matching lap time for lap time, but Button and Barrichello are a second a lap faster.
Yep, they certainly are, pushing very, very hard indeed. I wonder if Button's feeling the same people power that Nigel Mansell used to feel. He reckoned it was worth a second, half a second a lap every single time here. Look how close Raikkonen is now to Michael Schumacher. The crowd certainly enjoying this one here at Silverstone. Caps coming off as we go past. Right, there we are, across the start-finish line. And Raikkonen is now just 0.6 of a second behind the race leader.
Ferrari sitting pretty here, because if Michael ends up backing Raikkonen and Button into Barrichello, and you're absolutely right, I think, in saying that Michael's got the heavier fuel and is going to go further, so sitting quite pretty. I just wonder if the team are pretty content to see Button and Barrichello homing in on them at a second a lap, because it plays into the second Ferrari's hands very nicely.
Yeah, there's nothing I like more than a 1-2 here, but Barrichello, his strategy certainly hasn't worked for him this afternoon. He looked like he was sitting pretty, as you would say, in the front row of the grid, as Alonso once again lines up the Jaguar of Mark Webber, but unable to make the pass into Copse. Barrichello then starting in front of Michael Schumacher this afternoon, but he's now 4th and 7 seconds behind Michael Schumacher on lap 25 of this 60-lap British Grand Prix.
19 runners then, 1 retirement. Olivier Panis, we understand his fire extinguisher went off in the middle of the Beckett's curves, so the only man not running in the race at the moment. And there then are the two I'm telling you about that are just homing in very quickly. The gap from the leader to P4 now, the two Ferraris, is 7 seconds. Michael Schumacher leads by 0.5 of a second from Raikkonen. Button is a further, see him go 5.8 down, and Barrichello half second adrift of him. So now under 7 seconds, and Alan McNish has found Olivier Panis.
Olivier, a very bizarre incident, I understand.
Yeah, well, it's just the extinctor, you know, for the if you have a problem with the fire and the monocoque explodes and put a spray on the visor and all the steering wheel, and I going straight and I stop the engine stop.
And very unfortunate, but a very bizarre incident.
Yes, and very difficult weekend for us and for myself, but now thinking on next one.
Okay, then rejoining. This is the Schumacher-Raikkonen battle. And we have somebody pitting. Who is pitting? It is Genet then. Genet and Alonso pitting. They were line astern on the racetrack in 11th and 12th. are just a second adrift. So it's a straight fight between the mechanics. Janae away very quickly.
Yeah, good stop there. And interestingly, Giancarlo Fisichella rejoining after that very late first stop for him, broke up that Webber-Alonso battle. So once again, Alonso struggling with the traffic here this afternoon at Silverstone, and the team getting him into the pits in order to avoid any more problems with traffic. We're being told by race control that Gianmaria Bruni, we saw him making his pit stop a few minutes ago, had a drive-through penalty, so ignoring blue flags. So at the moment, on lap 27, Michael Schumacher leading by just 0.4 of a second from Raikkonen. Button's third, and Barrichello is fourth, closing on the leader. 0.3 of a second faster than Michael Schumacher, and this, Martin, a pivotal point in the Grand Prix now, because Schumacher needs around about 23 seconds in his pocket to make a stop and rejoin ahead of Raikkonen, and they both have one more stop to make, don't they?
Well, we think so. Remember, Ferrari swerved around and did a four-stopper. I wonder if they're doing the opposite this afternoon, James. I wonder if they've changed it and wrong-footed everybody again for a two-stopper when we thought it was pretty much a standard three today. So we'll see how that unfolds. But Michael Schumacher's lead currently 25 seconds. Barrichello and Button have spread out a bit. Barrichello solidly in third now. Button with poor pace at this stage of the race. That's bad news.
Yeah, we've seen it before from the BAR team. They have flattered to deceive. I mean, let's not knock them too much. They've had 7 trophies out of the 10 Grand Prix so far, but not always putting the whole package together in a Grand Prix weekend. But they are a young team, and they are coming up very quickly. As Takuma Sato, teammate to Jenson Button, having a fairly low-key weekend by his standards, he comes in from 10th place. Lives in Marlow, Takuma Sato knows this place like the back of his hand as he came up through the British junior ranks. Took the decision that no other Japanese driver has ever taken to move to Europe and embed himself in British motor racing culture, figuring that was his best way to get himself into Formula One. It certainly worked, but here today, a bit of a quiet afternoon for Takuma.
Webber and Massa, 7th and 8th at the moment, on a different plan for their afternoon, and everybody said to me in the paddock 3-stopper was an absolute no-brainer in terms of the race pace, but other drivers and teams making the two work pretty well at the moment, most notably, as I say, Fisichella, who's currently up in the P5.
Well, it looked like a bit of a change of heart really by the Ferrari team. They brought Michael Schumacher in, having run him a little bit longer, but not much longer in the first stint than the McLaren. And they obviously decided to put the extra fuel in. They're ready now for a second stop for Michael Schumacher. This is lap 37. He's got 25.5 seconds in his pocket, and this is where Raikkonen really needs to get the hammer down. It's probably going to be enough to get him to rejoin. Another tear-off comes. That's always a sign a driver is getting ready for business. This is a very, very important part of the Grand Prix now, a very important moment. Ferrari can't afford any slips in this pit stop. Ted, take us through it.
The Ferrari boys get to work. Michael hits his marks perfectly. Are they changing the front wheels? Yes, they are. They have to on a 2-stop. It's quite a long stop. Remember, he's got to make this to the end of the race. Still fueling. And what's the time on that? That's a long stop. 9.5, but that is to the end of the race. Where does he come out?
And remember, with a heavy car, Raikkonen was faster when Michael was loaded up. You can see Raikkonen, I believe, in the background there. Schumacher will continue to lead this Grand Prix.
Almost a carbon copy of what happened at the first pit stop, and Raikkonen, just as he comes around Kopp's corner, sees Schumacher emerging in front of him. So Schumacher maintains the lead of the Grand Prix. Kimi Raikkonen pushing very, very hard in second place. Barrichello third, Button fourth, Fisichella fifth, and Montoya is still sixth. 40 of the 60-lap British Grand Prix. Michael Schumacher leads. Kimi Räikkönen is hassling him, but Räikkönen has another stop to make. So he's lost ground in the middle part of this Grand Prix. And with Schumacher making his second stop of the afternoon, it's brought him back into the clutches of Räikkönen, who has a much lighter car at this phase of the Grand Prix. And will we see him try and pass the man on the track? Certainly looks like he's shaping up for it.
Well, it's his only chance to, he's got to get in front of Michael and then pull out an enormous advantage. Michael has just been solidly 3/4 of a second faster for 10 laps and made himself some space. And Räikkönen knows that his best chance is to give him a side swipe on the way past, frankly, because I don't think he's got the pace to do it. And now Michael's going to once again back Räikkönen into the pack if he's not careful. Barrichello just 2.5 seconds adrift in the second Ferrari. The crucial part of the Grand Prix then for Räikkönen to seize the chance to get past Michael Schumacher. Schumi just placing his car gently on the apexes, and worst case scenario then for Kimi Räikkönen. Let's see what the gap is this time. 3/10 between those two, but where's Barrichello? Now just 1.5 seconds behind Kimi Räikkönen, and on the same strategy. I'm sure that there's a bit of team play going on here. Can't blame them, it's fair enough. Exactly what I'd want to do if I had this opportunity in front of me. Button has fallen away by 9 seconds from Barrichello, but his pace at least has now picked up.
Ferrari put the squeeze on Räikkönen with 20 laps to go in the British Grand Prix. The first 3 cars are separated by less than 2 seconds on the racetrack, and Ferrari really are putting... Oh, it's a big crash for Jarno Trulli. He's hit that tyre wall really hard. Looks like he's okay, but that was a huge crash.
I think he's dropped it on the exit of Bridge Corner by the looks of it, and yeah, and safety car standing by. And there is why, because clearly a lot of debris. I think we're now coming into that zone. It's an unusual camera shot. Yes, we are, with a wheel in the middle, and they've got to slow down. And yes, Jarno Trulli, safety car deployed. Safety car is out.
So will Räikkönen take the opportunity to come into the pits, I wonder? You can see the amount of debris. That's going to take a while to clear up, and McLaren will be thinking fast. It's happened at the perfect time for Räikkönen. Does he dive into the pits? Yes, he does. This is going to get a free pit stop here, and so does Barrichello. There's going to be a race to get them both out again, but this is a really interesting moment of the Grand Prix. Ted?
This is great, and Williams are out as well. Everyone taking advantage of this safety car period. Räikkönen hits his marks. This is the final stop that he needs to get him through to the end, and perhaps, we hope, challenge Michael Schumacher. The fuel goes in. Jenson Button pitting as well. Let me tell you, Jenson was unhappy with his last set of tyres. That's why he was dropping off.
And Räikkönen out in front, crucially just of Barrichello, and all the advantage Michael Schumacher built up has now been wasted. But he has got track position. There will be back markers between them on the restart, I would imagine, but that has definitely neutralised the race, James.
Yeah, it's very interesting though, because some of the cars who you would expect to stay out, the 2-stoppers like Fisichella, also made their pit stops. So we will see where everybody is when they come back out on the racetrack, what the order will be for the restart, but that could have worked out super well for Kimi Räikkönen and Rubens Barrichello. And that's a stroke of luck possibly for Räikkönen, just as he was coming under the most intense pressure from the Ferrari team.
You see, it's like a free pit stop, because the safety car obviously is quite slow, so you're making your pit stop, and all you're really doing is losing a bit of, you go further down the snake, further down the queue, but you rejoin immediately, and as I say, effectively a zero-cost pit stop. Michael Schumacher leading then. We'll be back shortly. Force at this speed, but he's got to be right there, and he's got to hope these back markers realise they should get straight out of the way. And Michael backing the pack up, I'd be gone if I was him.
Certainly would. Christian Klien is the man right in front of Räikkönen. He's letting him go at the moment. He's obviously Räikkönen's obviously going to try and build up some momentum through the final sequence of corners. Schumacher being told on the radio what Räikkönen's up to. He's thinking it's like pursuit cycling this. When do I go? When do I go? When do I drop the hammer? How much of those 2 cars between us going to help me? Now Schumacher starts to pick up the pace, does he? The safety car peels in, and Räikkönen is monstering the back of Klien. Hopefully Klien will get out of his way, and Dematter as well. And we're restarted here at Silverstone, and Schumacher's flying, and look already at Räikkönen. He's going to try and get Klien into Kopp's corner. He doesn't get him into Kopp's corner, but Klien's got to get out of his way.
He has, but I just don't understand why they were leaving such big gaps. They should have been almost nerfing them through that left field corner. and it's given Michael a bit of a run. But Raikkonen's car, I'm sure, will be much faster at this stage of the Grand Prix, and that Toyota is obliged to get straight out of the way. It's a lapped car. Kimi deciding to use a little bit of his slipstream down the straight though, and now it's a direct 1-2 for Michael Schumacher and Kimi Räikkönen. Button was having a good look at Barrichello too. There they are, they're third and fourth, and Montoya looking good in fifth too.
Schumacher leads then, Raikkonen second, Barrichello third, Button fourth, Montoya fifth, Fisichella still in sixth place. We ride on board with Jenson Button from Great Britain. He's looking at the back of the Ferrari of Rubens Barrichello, and I saw a gesture there from Kimi Räikkönen as he went past D'Amata down the main straight, which was fairly obscene, and I think indicated he felt, as you did Martin, that the Toyota should have been much closer to the back of the Ferrari to help him out there. People diving out of the way, there gets Klein out of the way of Button. This is a terrific scrap here, and now Räikkönen is right with Michael Schumacher. He's got the advantage at the moment. The Michelin tyres, grip holding on better. Can he pass Michael Schumacher for the lead of the British Grand Prix? Just 14 to go as they cross the start-finish line.
And there's been a clear pattern all weekend. The Ferrari is quick through the fast stuff at the beginning of the lap, and the McLaren much quicker through the middle and end section. But this is where the overtaking's done, I'm afraid, down into Stowe mostly, and Raikkonen crucially cannot quite stay close enough to Michael Schumacher. Too much understeer in the turbulent air, and look at the gap he pulls out, and I think he'll haul him back in as the lap unfolds.
Now Barrichello tucks up behind the Toyota. D'Amata gets a little bit of a toe down the straight. D'Amata nips in behind him, and Button has got to get round the Toyota as well now. And he will dive out of the way. He is a lapped traffic. Cristiano D'Amata running in 13th place, and well, he won't have enjoyed that experience.
And Montoya follows Button through as well, so Button, from threatening Barrichello, suddenly has to be all in his mirrors. There you go, Button and Montoya, who's done a very solid job through this Grand Prix. David Coulthard is down in 7th. I don't know if he's anywhere near Fisichella, 6th place man, but this is what it's all about at the front. And somewhat surprisingly for me, Kimi's not as close as I thought he'd be in this final part of the lap. Look how much quicker he is though, through the apex of those slow corners.
He certainly is. He's terrific in the slow corners, this the new McLaren. On that last lap, Martin, he was a second and a half faster than Michael Schumacher. Just shows you how much pain he took trying to get past those two cars at the restart. Without that, he might well be in a position to attack.
Yeah, the moment was there, you're right, James, and you know, when you see a replay you just wonder why they're not. And Barrichello was a full sort of 100 metres behind Raikkonen. He should be just hustling them all the way, but the trouble is the part of the racetrack where the overtaking's done, and not those slow corners at the end where Raikkonen's faster.
Down the straight they go then, with 13 laps still remaining in this British Grand Prix. It's been, well, Grand Prix racing at its very finest, you have to say. Terrific amount of overtaking, some interesting strategy, a safety car bunching them all back up again, and, well, and a real attacking drive by Kimi Räikkönen. Is it all too late now? Michael Schumacher seems to have rediscovered his rhythm. His tyres are now in harmony with his car and this chilly Silverstone racetrack. And he is pushing very, very hard. That moment, that lap, Raikkonen's car a second and a half faster than Schumacher's. What might have happened if he didn't have to pass those two cars the lap before, hey? Well, we'll never know, but can he attack in the remaining 13 laps? Great three-car scrap going on for the final points-paying position here this afternoon between Webber, Massa and Alonso. Those three absolutely nose to tail for the final single point for 8th place.
Michael Schumacher's lead exactly 1 second, then Barrichello is 2.5 seconds further behind Raikkonen. Button keeping him honest, to say the least, and an enormous fight going on down the field. Montoya, Fisichella, Coulthard 7th, Webber 8th, Massa 9th, Sato 10th in the second BAR. Genet 11th, Alonso has stopped somewhere. Alonso in the second Renault has stopped in the first sector, James.
Yeah, from 10th place, that moves Takuma Sato up into 10th place. There goes Juan Montoya through your screens. Williams announcing this weekend that HP, their main sponsor, renewing their sponsorship for a multi-year period. So that's a big cash injection for Sir Frank Williams' team. And that'll be a big sigh of relief for them, because those big sponsors, they really do need to be kept hold of. You don't want them walking away from your team, especially the budgets that these guys run nowadays. You can see, though, Michael Schumacher now over a second clear of Kimi Räikkönen. This is the last lap then of the British Grand Prix. The top 4 runners are separated by 10 seconds here at Silverstone. Michael Schumacher has just a few more corners to go. before he wins his 10th Grand Prix in 11 races. And that's only one short, Martin, of his own record that he set back in 2002 of 11 wins in a season. How many is he going to end up with at the end of this season?
And the one he dropped out of was because of a crazy incident in the tunnel of Monaco, wasn't it? So I don't think he was going to win that race that day, mind you. Jarno Trulli had the measure of him at the Monaco Grand Prix, but Michael was still strong for second or third there, so just about the perfect season for the reigning world champion.
Absolutely, it was another story of thinking on your feet and being quick when the moment counted for Michael Schumacher. He didn't have a great qualifying yesterday, but he's had a great race today. He takes his 80th career victory, his third win at Silverstone, and what a tremendous drive by Michael Schumacher, but what a tremendous drive also by Kimi Räikkönen out of the final corner. There you can see the VAR. Raikkonen's already crossed the finish line in second place, Barrichello third, Button fourth, Montoya fifth, Fisichella in sixth place, seventh David Coulthard, and the final points paying position for Mark Webber. But a tremendous drive, and what a performance by Kimi Räikkönen. He really took the fight to Ferrari here this afternoon, and not too many people would have put money on that a couple of weeks ago.
No, I wondered if he had enough pace though to take it, James. He'd been fastest in just about every session through the weekend, put it on pole with a great lap, but he thought, right, okay, Räikkönen has got a chance to beat Michael Schumacher today. The Bridgestones did seem stronger than the Michelins. Michael enjoying those Bridgestones, but Räikkönen, I think, certainly made the best of what he'd got.